All right, thank you for staying tuned. Welcome back to the Verdict Studios, where we have been taking a look. It's actually election eve, and would I be right to say excitement is building and hopes are rising again, and people are beginning to get in the mood to prepare to go vote? It looks like things are better this time around than last time, and there's a lot of expectation. And we've been talking about some of those expectations in terms of the dreaded L word, logistics, and then, of course, the other one, which is security. And we're not going to depart from that, except that this time we're going to be looking ahead now. Taking a look back and taking a look at now may not be actually useful. Taking a look ahead at tomorrow and what we ought to see, what we should see, and depending on what we see, how to react, and all of that will be focused during this segment of the program. Ijoma?
Yes, I agree. There's a lot of expectation, I think, in the air. Many people are waiting for this to happen and are happy that the INEC chairman did speak today and said that, yes, the process is going ahead, and the I's are being, the T's are being crossed, and the I's are being dotted. Yeah, and there's a lot of expectation in the air, I think so, ain't it?
Yeah, and as much as there's a lot of expectation, people are still asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
That are begging for answers. Someone asked a question as regards when the IGP spoke. He talked about the possibility that if you can prove that you're going to vote, right, you may not be restricted from moving. Someone's sending a question actually to ask, what happens to those who are physically challenged, who are unable to walk long distances? I'm not sure that was factored into that consideration by the IGP, but these are some of the questions that...
Well, actually, in the last segment before we took the break, to my surprise, I don't know if you were not surprised. To my surprise, it turns out that if you are going to vote, because one of our guests in the studio here in Lagos said so, and then the gentleman from immigration in charge of the elections also reconfirmed the fact that you can actually move in your car, provided you are able to prove that the reason why you are in the car and where you're going is for the strict purpose of voting, that you can actually
Which
move
is not something that many people knew.
No, they did not, because in fact, even here in the studio, the other security expert was arguing it.
But then how will it be? You know, if you're going somewhere else and you say, "Oh, I'm going to vote," isn't that why they say no movement?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
So, but the other side of it, I think I heard him say something about as far as you're not too many in the car.
Yeah, don't be about 6 or 7
don't be 6. So that is not some kind of private taxi.
Again, but you know, then the question of the discretion of whichever of the security officials stops you,
right,
they now decide, okay, I'm okay with you showing me your work ID and your PVC. Some others might like, you know what? No movement means no movement.
No movement.
Another thing many of our viewers was also wanting to know was what role the military will play in terms of where does their enforcement stop.
That's it. Where is their remit?
Where is their remit? I know the INEC chairman had said not in the polling unit or in the cordoned area, but then he also said in a different breath, if the police feel there's a reason for them to come in,
yeah, that they can call them, they can ask them to join.
For many of our viewers.
You know, but Ladi, before we move ahead, I'd still want to put it out there that they can send in their comments and questions to us.
Please.
Let's know their Twitter handles that are out there. There's an email as well, theverdict@channelstv.com. Send in your mails, your questions, your comments so that we can put it out there. Probably the officials, INEC officials, the security agencies can also help to answer that. But you can also watch us on all the platforms wherever you are. As we say, you can carry us with you.
You can carry us with you.
On the mobile, the Channels TV app, on YouTube, on Twitter Live as well, and on Facebook. We're streaming live the election coverage. We're doing comprehensive coverage. We have our reporters spread around the country, and they're reporting per second
and also,
what's happening.
Don't forget that we want you to send in pictures of your thumb and whichever finger you use to vote. That should be hashtag I voted.
Yeah,
yes,
I voted,
so I really hope that you send that in as well so that we can have a bit of an assessment of what it'll be like when you've finished your voting. And of course, be safe while you do it, and try to do it at your polling center where we can see a bit of activity, because that helps, not just for television, but
as I say, don't take your phone to the ballot.
Don't take it to the booth.
To the cubicle. Yeah, you can take it with you, but the distance from accreditation to when you're actually doing the thumb printing.
Yeah.
Or let's not call it thumb printing, fingerprint. Since they say no,
It sounds funny when you say thumb printing.
Exactly.
And it has a negative connotation.
Yes.
At this point, we've been joined by a brand new set of guests. In our Lagos studios here, we have Mrs. Juliet Benite, Director for Programs, Institute for National Transformation, and of course, Mr. Olushola Obasa, security expert. Thank you both for joining us on this end. We also have some guests in our Abuja studios. I think I can see Abiodun Ajijola there from Election Monitor, and then of course Cynthia Mbamalu of Yaga Africa. Now these introductions are such that on the panel today we have 4 people we are used to joining us, and while Cynthia is of course one of our election people, Biodun of course is our numbers man. Even the INEC chairman
even the INEC
chairman now recognizes him as a numbers man. And of course, Mrs. Benite with us here has always retained this sunny optimism. And hopefully this evening we shall have more of that, as well as Mr. Obasa, who maybe now, on hearing from the IG today, maybe I'll just start straight away with you. On hearing from the IG today, do you have more confidence than you did when we spoke yesterday?
Yeah, I did. And I think I even have more confidence when I listened to the INEC chairman when he talked about counting the votes. To me, that's just perfect, because it blows the bubble out of anybody that wants to read. Because when you count it there, what else? How do you want to manipulate the numbers after that? Even if you don't have enough security, like I always wanted to, it still solves a lot of the problems, because you are there, your agents are there, they are counted there, and you can't argue with numbers. 43 is 43. You can say tomorrow, oh, it's 83, because it was counted and everybody acceded to that fact and signed on it. So to me, it made my day.
You know, the last time we spoke to you, you talked about document security and you were very concerned.
Yeah.
And you see the INEC chairman has now told us, you know, the various stages, and I'm sure there are others he didn't mention. So do you feel more confident that their documents are secured, as he said?
Or better secured.
But like I said, I don't know the security that has gone into the document, so I cannot comment, as it were. But one thing I know is that once you now go back, if there's the tribunal case, and you go back, you must be able to know that this is the document you printed.
That's right.
Just like the central bank can know that, look, this is a naira that we printed, and this one is a forgery. So they should be able to know immediately, you know, because if the documents are not secured, that means that's a weak link.
No. Now, from everything we've heard from our correspondents across the states, yesterday, day before yesterday, even today, we've heard from our correspondents, and I'm coming to you, Mrs. Benite, we've heard from a number of our correspondents. Almost without exception, they've all reported on people saying, look, fine, we were disappointed last week that we couldn't do it, but we've put that behind us now, and we're looking forward to doing it this week. Are you getting that same feeling from your own investigation and from your own interaction?
I mean, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm actually excited that finally let's make this decision and know where we are. But I want to commend INEC to a certain degree for Professor Mohammed, his leadership. He showed leadership. In this last 1 week, he did show leadership. He took control of those reins. He fed the temple of what Nigeria is concerned about. Because there was one time they were talking about you shouldn't stay back and count the vote. There was a little bit of confusion. So I think people are going in tomorrow with a little bit of more confidence than last week. And I'm looking at last week that, oh, maybe it had to happen. Typical Nigerians were never ready for what, both on the leadership aspect and the followership. But tomorrow I see more excitement. Everywhere I go to, people are there. I mean, I wasn't going to vote last week, but tomorrow I want to vote.
What changed that?
It's the confidence INEC has shown, but leadership, and also for me, today in that afternoon brief,
Right.
I think was the best thing that happened. The presence of the international community, not the West, but to see the Africans who are desirous to see what is happening in Nigeria, gave me a take that Nigeria, they are concerned about us, and we have to behave ourselves.
But
so there's a checkmate.
When you talk about confidence, INEC was confident even the last week. Up to the early hours,
to 3 a.m.
Up to 3 a.m., INEC was confident.
This time around, the way INEC has gone about it with their daily briefing, they were not that confident last week. If you heard, there were still rumors, even in the newspaper, that INEC was not exactly ready. And INEC even confessed that they were 80-something% ready on Thursday.
Okay.
And also, they did not give us the details of the number of cards.
Yeah.
They were things that were not out yet.
They didn't have that. Okay, let's
so
see
they've
that.
moved the bar a little bit higher.
Let me take this.
We're not saying that they're going to be excellent, or they're going to still be the Nigerian factor.
You can't have it
But I
both
can
ways.
tell you that,
I mean,
you can't have
like I
it
said,
both ways.
Prof, Mohammed, for the first time, I can have
Kudos to
confidence
him.
that he's going to be a little bit thorough. He wants to be thorough about tomorrow. I think he's showing us that he has something to prove. And I'm looking at him very carefully and see if he can beat the Jega report,
Okay.
I mean the Jega era, and see how he will bring to pass a credible, to a degree
Okay, let's
of
hear from the
transparency.
INEC chairman himself.
From the degree of
Let's hear what he
transparency.
actually said and a bit more, and then you can pitch in your other 2 cents about what you think he's doing right.
Clear timelines were assigned to the activities which will lead to the opening of polls on Saturday. Let me therefore present to you the level of implementation so far achieved as follows. 1. By 4 p.m. yesterday, all issues relating to the delivery of materials were identified and virtually addressed. Ballot papers, result sheets, and a host of non-sensitive materials are now in location across the 37 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. 2. Our state offices commenced the process of inviting stakeholders to the Central Bank of Nigeria to examine the retrieved materials deployed last week and to witness the batching of materials according to local government areas. This is ongoing at the moment and is expected to be completed today, Tuesday, 19th February 2019. 3. All materials to local governments for batching towards and polling units shall take place on Wednesday, 20th and Thursday, 21st February 2019. 4. All registration area centers, or what we call RACs, are to be activated by 9 a.m. on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 5. Personnel and materials should be at the RACs by midday on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 6. Refresher training for ad hoc personnel should take place at the RACs on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 7. Personnel and materials must arrive at the polling units latest 7 a.m. on Saturday, 23rd February 2019. And 8. Opening of polls nationwide will take place at 8 in the morning on Saturday, 23rd February 2019.
Okay, Abiodun Jijola joins us from Election Monitor. Let me take this to you. Some of the things that the INEC chairman has reeled out that needs to be achieved by today. Let's leave the voting, which was the last thing you mentioned, by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the things is reeled out. Materials to arrive at the RATs, or reactivation of the RATs by, he said, reactivation by Friday, being today. And then some materials will be there by midday today. Now, in all that you've seen, Does it look like INEC has achieved all of the things, about 8 things he put out, 7? The other 8 will be tomorrow. Does it look like INEC has achieved it, and does that give you more confidence, as Mrs. Beniti has said, she has more confidence?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes, I have to say, in my opinion, and what we have seen and the reports we've been hearing, many of these things have been achieved. As you know, the materials distribution was one of the major challenges we had that led to the postponement in the first place. And as you know, many of these materials already as far back as 2-3 days ago had gotten to state offices nationwide and even to local government offices. So today they're expected to be in the rack. Normally you expect materials to get into the rack sometime in the evening of Friday, but because of the situation of things and because this extra time was provided, it was expected that as from 12 p.m. today, the rack centers will be opened, for materials to arrive from the local governments across the nation. And as far as we are hearing, materials are getting there. I cannot tell you for every single part of the country, but we are getting positive reports, and we have not had anything at this moment that portrays to us as if there is any challenge whatsoever. Some of the issues that have been raised about maybe some issues of materials insufficient here and there, what INEC has done is to be able to, get some of these. I think they have some spares, which they've been able to access to be able to achieve, every material being complete. And at each of the state CBN, central bank vaults, the party agents are allowed to inspect the materials before they are moved to the state, into the local government offices. And then from the LGAs as well, the party agents are allowed to inspect as they move to the racks as well. So we haven't had much issues. We have heard yesterday of 1 or 2 places where materials were sent to some places, or were supposed to go to 1 or 2 places, not the actual place intended. But I believe as of those issues were as of yesterday morning, and I'm sure by this time they would have been resolved, because after the press briefing today, we were not informed of any such pending issue. So in my opinion, I think that we have gotten most of the things that need to be done. And I think the press briefing was tremendously important because it has helped the whole nation to follow up what is going on. And even INEC has, had to open what it is doing and also helping to put it on its toes. So I think we're in a good position to head into the polling tomorrow morning.
Were you happy to see the Inspector General today? The Inspector General of Police. Were you happy to see him? Did he add to the confidence level today?
Yeah, well, it was good to see him because one of the things we recommended as an observer group is that there should be a full-fledged stakeholders meeting before the election so as to bring all stakeholders together. But these press briefings were almost like stakeholder meetings because every stakeholder was permitted access, at every single day. Whether you're a political party, you're media, you're civil society, or observer, local, international, we're all permitted access. So it was good to have him there because, as you know, security is a major concern for many people. And as you know, there have been some, reports of violence here and there, even in the past couple of days. So it was important, and you could see that a lot of people had questions directly for him. Whether he answered all of the questions to their satisfaction was another thing altogether. But I think having him there was extremely important because it meant that many of the issues which people had, which are security related, there was an opportunity to air them and get some responses. So
from your perspective, we're ready to go?
I am 100%. Maybe polling can start now. But no, 12 hours time.
You have to wait for 8 a.m.
We're ready to go. As far as I'm concerned, we are good to go.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll take a break at this point on the program. When we come back, we will go beyond ready to go and examine why we are now ready to go tomorrow.